We're good?
You are good. And I just want to say, if anybody's not speaking, please mute yourself so it's better for the committee and the person on the agenda. And I'm out of here.
Thank you. Good evening. This is the February meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the town of Newcastle. I think the first item we have is an extension.
Okay, I couldn't unmute. I'm sorry about that. I just got it going. Okay, first item is an extension for 7 Frog Rock Road. The, what is the name of it? The Met Chopper application. Apparently they've had a supply chain problem. They can't get their hot tub. They've been waiting for it, and they're looking for a 6-month extension. Is there anybody who wants to address this situation?
Rebecca, do you want to address it or me?
Yep, we just heard back from the manufacturer that they're just finishing up manufacturing the hot tub, and by the end of the week we should have a shipping date. But just supply chain issues is the problem. The rest of the job's been complete. We're just waiting for the delivery of the swim spa.
In that case, I'll vote that we approve a 6-month extension on this application.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper, you're on mute.
In favor.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your extension.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
You're welcome.
Next application is Mark, 1025 Hardscrabble Road.
That's me.
What would you like to tell us about your application, Mr. Mark?
Well, forgive me for I am new here, but basically I hired a company to install a whole house generator, and I got a form saying I had to fill out a variance or something, get a variance. So I filled out a bunch of forms and here I am. So I don't quite know what I'm supposed to do or what comes next, but I showed up.
How did you or your contractor determine where the generator should be placed?
They came over to my house and looked at the places it would fit and be installed.
Are you going to be on this?
Excuse me?
Please continue, Mr. Mark.
Sorry. I hired the contractor. They came to the house. They looked at it. They said, we'll put it here. And they were going to fill out all the paperwork and file for permits and stuff. And then I got a letter saying something didn't jive with the building codes or something. And I had to fill out a bunch of variance forms. So I can't speak much to it, but that's where they decided it should go.
So do you understand any of the background about this? So they've placed it, or they're proposing to place it in the setback, in which case, obviously, you require a variance. If you were to move it closer to the house, the variance may or may not be necessary, or at a minimum, the variance that is required would be lessened.
Right. So I think the problem here is that my house predates the zoning rules, and my house doesn't conform to the rules, as in the border of the house is actually in the space where the house can't be, or something like that. Like the setbacks, the house is actually within the setback because the house was here first and the setbacks came later. So putting the generator anywhere kind of causes this problem. It's not the generator's problem. It actually is against the house. It's the house that's the problem, but I can't move the house. Right.
The generator go on the other side of the house.
Well, the problem there is that's the other side of the house, which is exactly the opposite from where all the electrical and the plugs and the wires and the propane and stuff would have to go.
So you're saying, why would that be a problem?
Because I don't know. This is where they decided to put it, and I kind of figured the generator had to be near the electrical box because it sort of powers, like, you're running wires. All the current from the generator's got to go to the house, and having all that next to each other is sort of what you do, right? I don't know.
Did they explore moving the wires through the house or through the attic, or doing it in some other way that
they talked about it, but my house doesn't have any accessible crawl space that you can actually do that with, sort of. It's hard to explain unless you see the house, but it's a small house with a bunch of additions, and all the additions have inaccessible crawl spaces, or they're not crawl spaces, you just can't get there. So you can't really run wires through there, or there's no under to go.
So what you're saying is that the wires can't be run easily from the area that, of your yard where there would be no requirement for a variance.
Yes, right, because it's the other side of the house, and there's no way to get from that side to this side.
If I'm reading the sketch properly, is it the Quigleys who live closest to that side of the house?
I have no idea who the Quigleys are. I think the closest neighbor I have is
West Wilmington.
Jay. Steve Obus is, I think, closest to me.
Aren't you right across the street from Chappaqua Swim and Tennis?
They're on the other side.
I said across the street.
Oh, well, no, I'm on the same. My property abuts theirs, so
Yep.
we're both on the same side of Hardscrabble.
Okay.
The neighbor who is closest to you, could you describe how close their house is to you, and what, if any, vegetation or screening exists between the two properties?
Well, I'm not good at judging distance. It's definitely a few hundred yards, maybe not a few hundred yards, maybe somewhere between 100 and 200 yards, I guess. There's brush and there's stream. There's a stream that runs between my house and everybody else, and there's a bunch of brush and trees and stuff.
Is that the house that the Flanks used to live in?
No, they are in front of me. Obus is to my west. Flanks are south of me.
Pam, is there anyone in the queue to be heard on this matter?
No one has their hand raised at this time, no.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any other questions for Mr. Mark? I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. I move that the Mark application for the installation of a generator requiring a side and rear yard variance of 25 feet, a side yard variance of 7 feet, be approved for the following reasons. This is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The applicant has placed the generator in the most logical position on the property. There will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The benefit cannot be sought through other means. One of the variances is substantial. The proposed variance will not have an adverse impact on the physical environment. And because of the pre-existing condition, the difficulty is not self-created. There are no neighbors who have spoken in opposition. For these reasons, I think we should approve the application. You'll have 6 months to start and 1 year to complete the installation. And I think the building inspector would want an as-built survey upon completion.
Yes, sir.
I'll second that.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Yay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs, Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Mark, you have your variance. Sis,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Appreciate your time.
Next application is Hoskins.
Good evening. My name is Shane Heshmat. I'm representing 10 Ichabod Lane, Hoskins residence. This is an existing non-conforming house, a 1 acre property in a 2 acre zone. We're adding a portico and 3 dormers in front of the house, as well as extending the rear shed dormer to right and left. By adding the portico and dormers, not only we're adding to the aesthetics and the curb appeal of the house, we're also creating a better interior spaces on second floor with more light, space, and headroom.
How far does the front portico extend out beyond the house?
It's over the existing platform. I don't exactly have the number in front, but it's over the existing platform. We're not going beyond the platform. Existing doorstep of the stoop of the house.
So what you're saying is you're not increasing the existing footprint of the house.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Pam, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter?
No one has their hand raised at this time, no.
Thank you. Board, are there any other questions?
I assume that the same thing for the dormers. They don't go out any further or minimally from the location of the house.
Correct. They're within the boundaries of the house.
Everybody on the board okay?
yep,
Okay. I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Yay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. I move that the Hoskins application for the installation of a front portico and dormers to an existing non-conforming house. In the case of the front portico, the variance is 23 feet, the dormers, front yard 21 feet, side yard 17 feet. That these variances be approved for the following reasons. As I stated, this is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. There will be no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood. The portico, for instance, extends no further than the existing platform, and the dormers just extend minimally into the setback. The benefit cannot be sought through other means. The variances, in some cases, are substantial, though understandable given the circumstances. There will be no adverse impact on the physical environment, and the alleged difficulty is not self-created. You will have 6 months to start, 1 year to complete, and there will be an as-built survey that will be required upon completion.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, Tony, 1 second. And there are no neighbors that have spoken in opposition. Excuse me.
I'll
Chairman
second
Kenneth,
that. I'm sorry about that.
okay. Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Yay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variance.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next is McGinty, 10 Frog Rock Lane, Frog Rock Road.
Hi, my name is Mike McGinty. I'm the owner of 10 Frog Rock. I've been a resident of Chappaqua for 15 years, although I only recently purchased the house on Frog Rock. We're asking for a variance to expand the garage and the existing apartment above it so that my mother can move in there. I don't know what else, if you have questions for me about the proposed construction.
I would like to present Michael.
Okay, thanks, Tail.
Yeah, thank you. May I share the screen?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I don't think I am able to do it yet. Let me see 1 second here.
You should be able to, yes.
Okay, let me see now. Share my screen. Yeah, now we're good. Thank you so much. Board members, good evening. Teo Sigüenza, my name. I am the architect for the McGinty family. The property is located at 10 Frog Rock. You can see here in this aerial view. The adjoining properties are number 8, number 12, 12 on the north, 8 on the south, the golf course on the east. And on the west, we have number 19. The existing property, as that you can see here, is non-conforming. The original house and its appurtenances were built in 1929. We have a letter from Mr. Maskiel, the former building inspector, who issued about 10 years ago, indicating that that was the fact. There was an existing non-conforming structure, and we share that with you. I would like to continue showing you here an aerial view of the property again. And the area in question is here, where we are proposing to expand an existing 2-car garage and to expand the dwelling quarters on the upper floor for Mom, Mrs. McGinty. You can see here again the properties and an aerial view. You know, number 10 in question, the proposed work in this area here. Number 12, number 8, number 19 across. As you can also see in this image here, you know, the existing residences are about 247 feet on one side, 285 to the front. Number 8, for example, 240 feet. So there's distance there. These are the existing images of the structure as it presently stands. This will be the west elevation, the access. It has a long driveway, and this structure in here that you can see is about 180 feet from the front. So it's a very long driveway, and the setback is the houses. It was built initially farther in the back. Obviously, there were no zoning regulations when it was built, and it was a very fine conforming lot, and then regulations came, and we have a non-conforming lot now. That is the west elevation. So you can see the property. That is the south elevation. This in here is also the south elevation, and this is the area in question. Here you have actually the north elevations. In here we have the tax card where you know clearly you will see that again, you know, the structure it has the garage and it with an apartment on top, and it was built in 1929. This is the tax card that it's a public record. I will show you the site planning here, you know, and where you can see here I will blow this area in question, the area that we are reviewing now. The setback line, as you can see, it goes through a good portion of the house on the one direction, and in the other direction, the existing garage encroaches into the side yard. It is existing 38 feet, which remains. We are not changing that. However, the proposal that we are looking to do on the upper floor will be compliant. So we will be on the 45 feet on the upper floor where we are growing and creating this expansion to the residence. And yes, we are proposing the expansion in a northerly direction, going closer to the house, so we don't encroach any farther into the setback. We understand that you know this is something we can do, and we are doing it. So the proposed work, and I will show you here on the plan layout. So the existing garage, this small portion will continue encroaching into the setback as existing, but all the work that we are doing on the second floor respects the setback. As you can see here, we are zigzagging the structure so that we are respectful of the setback line. So we are compliant on all respects on the proposal. There are you know, existing structures. The tennis court is very close to the existing lot line, and also the existing garage is close, and the house encroaches into the rear setback. But again, it's an existing house that was built in 1929. The proposed elevation that I share with you here, that is the street elevation west, facing west. The existing residence is here, and the proposal is here. You know, there are the two garages, and we are expanding the other garage bay coming closer to the house. And also the structure is coming closer to the house on its growth, respecting the setback line. In this image here, you can see that the setback line really is here, and here is where the expansion of this structure we are proposing to begin. So respecting the setback line, you know, the building height of the structure, as you can see here, is about 20 feet to the midpoint, and it has an absolute of 29 feet, about 29.4. The structure is connected to the house via a breezeway, that is a glazed breezeway. So mom, again, who will be using this residence, I hope you allow us to do that. She will be connected to the house this way, and so it's just an extension of the house for her use. The other elevations are here. You can see the rear facing the tennis court, the golf course rather, and here the addition. So here is the growth that we're doing vertically and also horizontally coming towards the house, leaving a breather in between the existing house and windows that they have there of about 14 feet. The other elevations here, we have actually the south elevation. Again, it will be at the setback line, and the overhangs that we have in here are about 5 inches. So there's no encroachment really into the existing yard. Again, it's an existing non-conforming structure that has been documented as such. If you board members have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Well, I do have a question about the development coverage. I mean, the setbacks I see are not too large. The setback variance needed is only 7 feet. That's not a big deal. But
Yeah,
I'm very
actually, no, there's no setback request because that's existing.
It's existing. I understand that. Right. So it's only 7 feet. It's no big deal. I'm very concerned about the coverage. I mean, how did the coverage get to be so extreme? I mean, we're talking about double the allowed development coverage. I mean, that's an awful lot of coverage.
Yeah. Again, it is existing. This house was built largely like this at the beginning of its life on 1929, when there was no zoning ordinance. The driveway was installed on a tennis court, perhaps, that was also installed at one point. Again, existing. It's not that we're adding.
But I'm sure that the driveway renovation and the tennis court was not built in 1929. That was built somewhere after that. Would you agree with that?
It could be. It could be. We have checked the records and we couldn't attest to that.
Okay, I would like to get our building department to research that a little bit and tell us when this additional coverage was constructed and whether or not permits were issued for the additional coverage, whether or not variances, if necessary, were issued for additional coverage before we make a decision on this. I mean, to me, it could go either way. I understand what you're saying, that it's legally existing non-conforming. I understand that you're not going to be any encroaching any more of the side or front and rear yard variance that are the lines that you've already done, which is existing. But the thing that's problematical to me is the excessive amount of coverage. And if we could find some way to mitigate that, it would be of a great help for us to make a decision. In that regard, speaking only for myself, I think that a field trip would be in order so that the board could personally walk the property, see where it is in relation to the neighbors, and see what we're dealing with when we're talking about approving more coverage on a lot that is already non-compliant within its coverage requirements. I'll leave that to the rest of the members of the board. But for me, I think that a field trip would be beneficial for all.
Yeah, I would like to add that yes, I have discussed with my clients, and they will be willing to remove some of the coverage. There's a lot of patios and walks that they will be willing to remove to make your decision less complicated.
That would be a big help.
Have you done any calculations to determine in what range of square feet you're talking about in terms of what could be removed?
Yes. For example, something that we clearly reviewed is that this patio that they don't use, that at one point, that was built, they haven't built it. This will be removed, and that will suffice to offset the increase that we are creating with this particular proposal. This is the amount that we are over, and we are willing to remove this. And then there will be a net zero increase in coverage.
Okay. I
understand that the house it was built and it's long driveway and there's a tennis court that predates. It's nothing that in the last probably 20, 30 years it hasn't been done. And actually, probably it dates much before that. The house was built, the house and garage on 1929. We have records of that. And we also have a letter again from the former building inspector who did a research. And actually, I have it in front of me, where he's indicating that there was a house built in 1929 that neither a building permit nor a certificate of occupancy was required at that time. The building permit for an addition, for an alteration was issued in 1955. And a certificate of occupancy was issued in 1955 as well. Also, there was another building permit in 1965, and also a certificate of occupancy was issued at that point. and that, there were no violations. I understand that there is an existing non-conformity, and there are setbacks that, they predate, like many of the applications that we saw before, and that we see, every week or every month coming to you.
What is the square footage of the flagstone patio you're suggesting?
That is about 700 square feet.
He's saying, Michael, that it's roughly 100 square feet over.
Yeah,
the.
I get it, but I can't see any dimensions on there, so I don't know what we're swapping out.
We're saying this terrace here, and yeah, I will document it for you to see it properly.
Would you even need a variance then to do what you're requesting to do? Tom?
They are over the maximum allowable, so yes, they would need a variance.
They would still need something, even though they're not going further than, they would be decreasing from where the existing are.
But
That is correct.
But Harvey, there's still twice the development coverage.
Yeah, but I understand that, but it appears as though it was, the reason that is that large a development coverage variance is because it was built at a time when the code didn't have a variance, the development coverage.
Right.
But we don't know that to be true.
When it was built, and if it was built and everything that was done there was done according to the code at that time, then I think this is sort of a no-brainer.
Well, Harvey, let me just, it's my recollection that if it's a legally existing non-conforming situation, and you do anything to it, whether you increase the nonconformity or even if you decrease the nonconformity, you need to come before us and get a variance for that. I may be wrong, we'll get a legal opinion on it, but that's what I have been told for years and years.
No, I think you're right. They probably still need a variance, but I'm saying there is very little reason to deny what they're requesting if everything is dated prior to the time that.
But we don't know that, Harvey.
I know we don't know it.
So,
Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
Excuse me, this is Tom. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have researched this, and the pool, tennis court, and main structure do predate the code, and they were in existence prior to the zoning codes.
Oh.
The property, as you see, is pretty much been untouched, with the exception of an alteration and an addition that came later on, as Teo showed you. The garage that we're talking about was one of those alterations and additions at the time that was altered.
You have to feed your dog, Tom.
Yeah. So yes, the property is original.
That's useful information. Thank you.
Pam, is there anyone in the queue who wishes to be heard on this matter?
Yes, let's see, Clifford Davis, you may unmute yourself.
Good evening. My name is Clifford Davis. I represent Walter and Stacy Kerchak. They reside at 8 Frog Road, the adjacent neighbor. I just have a couple of legal points, and then I would like my client to address the impacts of this development on them, as set forth in the balancing test. So I just want to make a couple of brief points. My understanding, after having reviewed the ARB video in which the applicant went before, that the architect had stated that he was going to actually take down the garage and then rebuild it in the same location. Now, once you take down a structure, the structure loses its non-conforming aspect to it. So we all agree that it's a 45-foot required side yard setback, and the applicant only has 38 feet. So why would the board permit the applicant to tear down the structure and then for the applicant to put it back up non-conforming. That makes no sense. Once you take something down, you should be able to put it and conform, just like anybody else. I mean, that's a self-created hardship, and there's absolutely no reason for it. You know, the key factor is, do they have to do it where it is? And once you take it down, the answer is no.
But we're not taking it down, sir. You know, we changed our mind. I may have said that we are not taking it down, so that's a moot point.
Well, you can't go to the ARB, sir, and say you're taking it down and then come to the zoning board and say you change your mind.
Absolutely correct, and we can do that. We have the right to do that. We can change it. You know, we are not taking it down.
I think then in that situation, then this application should be withdrawn and you should have to go back to the ARB. But you know, I'm just an attorney.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Playing fast and loose. You know, I mean, I'm making, I've been doing this a long time, and an architect can't come in and tell one board he's doing something and have the plans and then say he's doing something else. But
each board has its own purview, sir. Architecture review board is looking at the architecture, and the zoning board is looking at different aspects. There are two different boards, sir.
I'm sorry, if I may. The zoning board has counsel who is listening to the application, and we will consult with counsel on the proper method for us to move forward on this. So,
thank you.
So let's just, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you short. Please continue on your other comments.
What the applicant has also failed to advise this board, it's a 2-acre zone, and the applicant only has 1.828 acres. So it, you know, the building might be non-conforming on setbacks or whatever, but I'm not so sure whether it's non-conforming as to the size of the lot. You know, that's something that this board should look at. As far as development coverage, when you look at the calculation worksheet, it talks about driveway, parking areas and walkways, terraces, tennis courts, platform, tennis courts, swimming pools, mechanical equipment, and any other structures. Is Mr. DePaul saying that there is evidence that all of these things were built in 1929 and it predated the code? And what was it that the code stated at that time? Because from my understanding, I think that the code first came into, it was in 1928, because the zoning board came in to existence in 1928. So if it came into existence, it had to be that there had to been some sort of code that you guys were giving variances for. So I think before the matter can go ahead, that the evidence needs to be presented to the zoning board. And I appreciate what Mr. DePaul said, but if I can't see the evidence and it's not presented, and the applicant has the burden of proof to show exactly what he's seeking, you know, myself as counsel for the neighbor, we don't have any opportunity to review the material. So it subjects the board to being arbitrary and capricious when there's no documentation as to how exactly it's not pre-conforming, how it's allegedly a pre-existing non-conforming use. So at this point, what I would like to do is have my client address, even assuming the application, there still has to be a balancing test as to whether this applicant who's seeking this, what we would call an extensive modification, how it impacts my client. So at this point, I would like, if you could acknowledge or promote one of my clients to address that.
Yes, please proceed.
Which is the client? I don't see a hand raised.
Sir, could you inform us as to who we are to be hearing?
Yeah, I'm texting my client.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they raise their hand, like, oh, there, okay, there's somebody.
Okay,
Hang on.
thank you.
Okay. Walter Kershak, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
we can.
Okay.
You were.
Initially, I'd like to just mention a few facts, which I believe are facts which I think need to be considered. Even if the garage wall is not being torn down, the plans show several changes to that wall, which are material and constitute violations, I believe. In addition, the eaves are shown as extending beyond the wall, which also would seem to be a violation. I think if Teo is changing the plans, that's fine, but it should be clear one way or the other. I would like to ask my wife to make some comments as well.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Thomas Kerchak, and we have lived at number 8 for the last 20 years plus. We have been residents of Chappaqua since 1978. This is our third home. I am sorry to meet our new neighbors in this manner. I would have rather have a handshake over the fence, but we didn't have much notice. This was sort of, we were blindsided by this. This house next door has been vacant essentially for almost a decade. It first came on the market in 2012, and then it was bought as an investment to flip, at which point Teo was brought in to do a renovation so that the house could be presented for a resale. That was unsuccessful, although the renovation was very lovely. And the owner at that point asked me to come over and walk through with him to see whether there were any reasons that I could suggest to him and help him with that might indicate why this house was sitting dead in the water. Having said that, he was very respectful of our concerns about any more changes to the house. I am a practicing Buddhist, and I have been for many years. I was the executive director of the Westchester Buddhist Center, which began in 2009. When Walter and I bought this property at number 8, 21 years ago, we bought it because of the land and because of the privacy. It was in a terrible condition. It had not been kept up at all, but the bones of this property are astoundingly beautiful. And to me, as part of my Buddhist practice, that became an end project for me to create a contemplative environment in that space. We are just shy of 2.5 acres. Over the last 20 years, I personally have transplanted moss and ferns and created outdoor spaces for contemplative practice. I have not had any issues with the existing structure or the former owner, and I don't want to have any issues with the new owners. I wish them all the best. But I know the property, ours and theirs. I know that there is room for Teo to create this space for Mrs. McGinty to have an apartment where there is an existing apartment. It does not have to have cathedral ceilings, which will, the entirety of this addition will loom over what we have created. I can almost spit from the property line to the garage wall that faces us. The good news about that garage wall, which is the south-facing wall, is that it is a solid wall. There is a very small porthole at the very peak of it. And it has been that solid wall for all the 21 years that we've been here. What Teo is drawing proposes an enormous picture window, which will effectively overlook all of the contemplative spaces that we've created. It feels to me like a terrible intrusion. At the present time, the view for that house, for number 10, is the east and west elevation, not the southern one. The southern one overlooks nothing but our property. So what they basically do by adding that huge picture window is give themselves a front row seat to viewing what we have created without us inviting them in. And I don't think that's fair. I don't want to look into their private space. I would ask that they not ask to look into ours. This is extremely important to me as a Buddhist. There are several rooms that we've created. We have created a path for walking meditation, which runs the perimeter of our property. That will be overlooked by this enormous window. If they were to leave that wall, that south-facing wall, blank as it exists, and not encroach any more on the side setback, which is already in violation, we wouldn't be having this discussion, because they can have all of their exposure, their views to the east and to the west. To the east, they have the entire view of the golf course, which is spectacular. To the west, they get beautiful sunsets. To the south, they get our yard. I don't see the fairness in that. And I don't see that as being neighborly. And I really would like to be neighborly. It is part of my practice and my belief and the way I live my life. I would really encourage you to come for a site visit. This is not the prettiest time of year. It's a little muddy. But I would ask that you please consider a visit to see what we're talking about. The drawings are not representative, and I'm somewhat concerned now to hear that there is a discrepancy in what Teo is presenting to this board as opposed to what he presented to the ARB, because that is an inconsistency that troubles me. I appreciate your hearing me out.
Can I just ask the board members whether they've received the pictures that we submitted today? And I apologize for the short notice, but obviously we have not had a lot of notice.
Yes, they were received by the board. I can't say with certainty that everybody has had the opportunity to digest them fully, but they have been received. Pam, could I just ask, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter?
Tom has his hand raised. I don't know if he wants to speak on this, but there's no other attendees.
Okay. Tom,
Mr. Chairman, members
Yes.
of the board, I'd like to speak on the applicant's application, not in the realm of what the neighbor just was speaking on, but in the realm of the accessory apartment. The building department has no record of an accessory apartment, and accessory apartments are under the purview of the planning board. I urge the zoning board to consider sending this to the planning board for review of the accessory apartment.
Okay, we accept your instruction, Tom, and we will direct counsel to draft a notice to be sent to the planning board.
Thank you, sir.
Amanda, is there anything that you want to interject about this application and as we step forward?
Sure. At this time, I think we should adjourn the matter to give everyone a chance to contemplate some of the points that were raised by council, as well as direct it to the planning board for review for the accessory apartment. but leave the public hearing open.
Okay. And so the, could I
I'm
just, I'm sorry, could I just add that, so do I understand correctly that the applicant's architect will be amending the plan set that has been received by the zoning board? And that same planning set would be, that amended planning set would also be made available to the planning board?
Are you asking me, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The architect.
Yeah. I don't think that anywhere in the documents that you see there, it's indicated that the wall is going to be eliminated or knocked down. So I think the plans stand correctly as they have been shown. The neighbor indicated that I perhaps misspoke, and I tried to clarify that the wall will remain, and I don't think there's a need to change anything.
Okay, and based on what you've heard from the neighbor this evening, there are no changes that you contemplate making?
Yes, oh, I apologize, yes, correct, very well put your question. We will, and I say that on behalf of my client, because we did have a brief conversation where they indicated that yes, that the window, we will reduce the window and make a very small window. There is no interest for my client to be looking at the neighbor's yard. Although, you know, with all the respect, if you are set back the zoning district requirement, which is the 40 and some feet, then I don't think that you should be denied to have a window. You know, if you are respecting the setback line, why could any of your neighbors have a window?
Sure.
But we will.
Okay, we're not telling you. We're not telling you what to do. I was asking if, upon hearing from the neighbor, you anticipated doing anything.
Yes, we will do that, and I will discuss with my clients and get their advice. And I hope that we can also talk to the neighbor. You know, I don't think their intention is to be controversial,
Okay.
but rather to work with them.
Okay, and your new plans are going to show the flagstone patio removed, correct?
That is correct. We will do that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So,
what about the discrepancy with regard to the ARB?
We should review the plans with the ARB, get their feedback on that.
Okay, because they approved certain plans and now I understand it's being changed.
Right, so we're gonna have to compare them and get a memo from them for the next meeting.
Yeah, I would like to have, if you don't mind, Mr. Sirignano, who I believe I see there. Is that you, Michael, there? Michael?
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, Michael. Yes. I don't know if you were able to see the presentation and the comments from the neighbors.
I was not. I just got out of a zoning board meeting in Lewisboro. I'm in the outside office here.
Yeah, very good. Well, Mr. Sirignano is our consul as well. He couldn't join us for most of the hearing, but we will also discuss with him and get his advice and be able to work this out so we can all move forward, and I hope in a very neighborly manner.
Okay, we understand. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amanda, do we need a motion to carry over the matter?
Yes, to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
And to refer.
Before we go ahead with that, Jen, I would like to amend my request for a site visit. I think it's best that we hold off on the site visit until the planning board has their say, and possibly the architectural review board again, so that we don't go and look at something that is going to be possibly changed or different than when we review this again. So let's hold off on a site visit until we hear from the planning and the architectural board.
Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting, adjourn this matter this evening and carry it over to next month's meeting.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Yay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have contact information for our neighbors so we can open discussions over the next month?
Are the owners of 8 Frog Rock still on the line?
Hold on. Yes, they are, and they have their hand raised. Here they are.
Okay.
Mr. Kershak, go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, it's Stacy Thomas again. You can reach us at 273. What's that? 2389.
Right.
You can email us at s for Stacy Thomas .art, A-R-T, at Gmail, or my husband W Kerchak at Gmail.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next matter.
Next matter is Tripode at 18 Darkwood Road.
Good evening, everyone. Evan Tripode here. Been a resident of Chappaqua 38 years, born and raised. Graduated from Greeley in 2002. I live here with my wife, Amanda, and our 2 children who are currently attending West Orchard. And thank you for your time this evening. I'm going to turn it over to Jacqueline, who is our architect.
Good evening. My name is Jacqueline Tyler with Tyler Architecture and Planning. May I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so we're here this evening for an existing non-conforming residence in regards to a rear setback. We are looking to increase the footprint of the existing building. However, we're doing so within the footprints and contains of an existing wood deck. I'm going to zoom in on this photo, on this image, so you can see exactly the area we're speaking about. So we have an existing lot. Once you apply the setbacks to this lot, the remaining buildable area from front to back is 25.12 feet. So between the 2 setback lines. You can see the existing residence here noted in white with a portion of the residence. This is the part that's non-conforming. Back in 2012, this property was before the zoning board, and they did receive a setback variance for this portion of the residence, as well as what you see here in the green-blue color. This is an existing deck. So they did receive both the variance for the deck and the house back in 2012. Currently, the Tripodes are looking to increase the footprint. It is an existing 1-story home. So, and they will be it will remain as a 1-story home. So what we're looking to do is get a setback variance. You'll see this portion of the gray box, which is within the footprint, as well as this small portion of the stairs. So we are removing the deck, which also has a 3-foot railing on it. So it does have some form of massing in that area, and replacing it with the footprint of the home. I do want to just point out, since we initially submitted to the building department and the denial letter, we did get an updated survey. So there are new numbers that are reflected, nothing new from what we submitted to you, but they are slightly different than what the denial letter said. So this, we do have all the information included in our zoning chart here. And we do have, I'm going to jump over and I'll bring you back to the house in case you guys are interested in the architecture of the house. We did go to ARB and receive approval from the ARB. But you'll see the distance to the steps will now be 29.8, and we'll be maintaining the current 26.9 setback that is to the existing building now. So we are not proposing to increase that at all. We're increasing or proposing to maintain that 26.9 foot at the rear of the residence. We did speak to the neighbors. So we have submitted here a series of letters in support, all from the surrounding neighbors. They were presented with the site plan showing the area that we would be proposing the work in. And everybody has agreed that they think it will be a benefit to the neighborhood. These are the existing photos here, and this is the proposed home located up in this corner here. With that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and do my best. And as Evan, he's here as well, if he can answer anything.
Are all the, did all the neighbors who are adjacent to the property send letters?
Yes, they did. You're muted.
You're muted, Tony.
I wonder how many times we all say
Sorry
that in a
about
day.
It's just one of those things.
Yep.
Can you clarify the new dimension for the stairway, the stair and landing? You said it was 29.8?
Sorry. Yep, sure. Let me flip over to the. I'm going to go right off of the survey as we have that updated. Apologies. Here we are. 29.8.
Okay, because my notes tell me that it was 32.
Correct. Yeah, that's so the old survey appears to not be accurate. I'm not sure if that came from. When I look back at the 2012 records, it's not done by hand, but it is I'll call it very schematic compared to the recent survey that we had completed.
So instead of a 3-foot variance, you're going to be meeting almost a 6-foot variance.
It's 5.2 and then 8.1 on the house. Correct.
How many on the house? 8?
8.1. It's 26.9.
Okay, so see, okay, well, I'm a little different there. So you need a 8.1 and a 5.2. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Pam, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this matter?
No one has their hand raised at this time.
Thank you. Any other questions by the board? I move we close the public hearing.
No second.
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion.
I'll make a motion at the application of Amanda and Evan Tripode for 2 rear yard variances in order for them to construct an addition on their home. The 1 rear yard variance at the addition itself will be for 8.5 feet. We'll give you a little extra. And we need a rear yard variance at the new stair and landing of 5.5 feet. I move that they be approved for the following reasons. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. There is no other method other than granting this variance to achieve the desired end. These are not substantial variance requests. There'll be no adverse effect to the physical environment or conditions in the neighborhood. While this could be considered a self-created hardship, the benefit to the applicant will far outweigh any perceived detriment to the neighborhood or to the town itself. And if you can provide us with a final survey, you want a prior survey to framing, Tom, or a final survey? What's better for you?
I would like both, please.
Okay. Well, we'll need a foundation survey prior to framing and a final survey upon completion. And you'll have 6 months to start and 1 year to finish.
Second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Yay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variances.
Thank you very much.
Thank
luck.
you. Have a great evening, everybody.
You too.
Next application, Salnico, 18 Brandon Drive.
Yes, hi, I'm here, Mary Scott. Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I'd like to share screen. So- Okay. Okay. This is the site plan. The Salnico house was built in 1965. It was conforming at the time, but the front of the house is 71.8 from Brandon Drive, where now 75 is the limit, or the requirement, sorry. And we are proposing to do a porch, a rebuild porch and a platform. But let me show you a little background on this.
Are you using the existing foundation, Mary?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the existing house. So they had a fire at this house in October of 2020. Mr. Salnico passed away in the fire. His wife got out. Older couple, I am working with their son to rebuild the house. Because the inside is totally black and terrible shape, we decided that we should tear it down to the foundation. We had an engineer check the foundation and it is good. But rather than rebuild the house as a raised ranch, we decided to make it a center hall colonial, which is a more desirable building type. But as you can see, the fire started in the garage, so that's where the major damage was. The outside doesn't look so bad, but inside it's in bad shape. So what we're proposing, basically use the foundation, build up, and I'll show you the drawings in a minute, and then do a small porch kind of in this area. Because it sets up on the hill and it is a 2-acre property, it actually has a lot of room between it and the neighbors. This is the proposed front of the house. So the issue with making it a center hall colonial and entering on the first floor is we do have to get up the stairs quite a bit, but you know, we're trying to do it in a gradual way, up and then up the steps, and then to kind of really signal the entry, have the front door and the small porch. And so it's this platform and the porch that requires a variance, as well as the existing house on the existing foundation. Let's see if there's anything else here. So, I guess, so you know, in terms of the site plan, it's here. So you guys are in my way, but so as I say, this is the, I lost you, didn't I? Okay, so the 3 variances are the setback from the house, which is 71 feet, just over 71. It needs to be 75, so that's a 4-foot variance. The setback from the porch, 65 feet, where 75 feet is required, so that's a 10-foot variance. And the front landing, which really doesn't have any structure above it, it's just a ground level landing at that point, which is 60 feet from the property line and requires a 15-foot variance.
I don't know that it matters, Mary, but are the front porch and the front landing, are you replicating in some respect what had been there before, or does that represent a new element?
There was a front porch there, which we're essentially in the same location, but it was a slab on grade, and we're actually putting a foundation under this. And it becomes more substantial because we're raising it to that first floor level. So we have to get up about 5 feet from where the existing porch is. So let me go back to the pictures. So the porch is in the same location, but it's higher.
Right.
So, and it does have a bigger foundation, and the fact that we have to kind of gradually get up to it and then have a pad to go up to the porch, that's the landing.
Okay. Pam, is there anyone to speak to this matter on the, in the queue?
No one has their hand raised at this time. No.
Any member of the board with any additional questions?
Yeah, I have a question. When you tear down the existing building, are you going to tear down just to where the brick front starts, or are you going to tear that down lower to the ground?
Well, this is actually, it's a good question, because we have concrete here and we have concrete up to there. My guess is we're gonna take the brick off and keep this front wall.
So I would assume that front wall behind the brick is probably a frame wall down to where the concrete is.
No, actually from the inside it's concrete.
It is all the way up, okay. Because my question was going to be, for the amount of work that's being done here, and it's a lot of work, we can see that. What is the justification of saving the foundation? Is it so onerous to just demolish it and move the house back and not need any variances?
Well, I mean, yes, because it is a substantial foundation. We'd have to dig the whole thing out again and move it back a couple of feet. It's a tough lot because we've got hills kind of on the front and the back. And by using the existing foundation, we're also using the existing septic and, you know, keeping the bedroom count the same. So it is a savings, and especially now.
I wanted to get that in the record. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else by the board? I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. I move that the Selmaco application for 3 front yard variances, the main structure 4 feet, front porch 10 feet, front landing 15 feet, to reconstruct a home originally built in 1965, severely damaged by fire in October of 2020. Be approved for the following reasons. This is a pre-existing non-conforming structure. There will be no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. The benefit cannot be sought through other means. The requested variances are not substantial. There will be no adverse impact on the physical environment, and the alleged difficulty was not self-created. There are no neighbors who have spoken in opposition. You'll have 6 months to start, 1 year to complete. And there will be a foundation survey prior to framing that will be required.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variance, Mary.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sign the next one too.
Okay. Next is Giaquinito, 10 Brook Lane.
Okay, I'm back. I'll I'll share my screen.
Sure.
Okay. Oh no, I'm not finding it. Shoot. Hold on one sec. Give me 1 second, please. Okay. Okay. Let me get to the site plan. So Christina J. Quinto's house is in the Ridge. It's a small cape that was built in the 40s, and then there was a later addition. Let me show you the plans. So right now, the issue is you walk in the front door, and as many capes are, you're bang into the stairs and the closet. And even the front hall closet was divided up and shelves put in facing the living room. So what we're proposing to do on the first floor is, one, move the kitchen to what is now the dining area and make this the dining to open that up. But what requires the variance is we'd like to add a small entry with a closet and a bench. And then beyond that, a 3-foot portico, so that you have a little bit of a space when you enter, you're not right on top of the stair, and the portico. On the second floor, so this house has 2 bedrooms downstairs and 1 bath. On the second floor plan, currently there's just a powder room and a bedroom and a big playroom. So the desire here is to add a bathroom in the front, kind of take this powder room out. And so, enlarge, Christina has 2 kids, and so there'll be a tub, closet, toilet, sink. In the front, what we're talking about doing is pushing forward in line with the downstairs for that bathroom, and then the overhang extending it for the portico and the front door. So it all kind of ties in with the house, makes it a little more cottage style. I'll just show you from the side. So from the side, you can see this is the 3-foot portico entry. And then this is the extension that has the closet and the bench. I do have some pictures of the house. Okay. So here's the...
Leslie, I'll have to call you back, okay?
So here's the Google Earth. So this is the house. As you can see, they're all kind of in a row here. This is the house that is on the corner of, Hollow Oak and Brook. And then the houses in the back actually face onto Bedford Road. The second variance I'm going to be asking about is there's an existing shed, pre-existing from before Chris bought it, that's back here. So this is the existing kind of a typical cape. So this is where the extension would be for the entry and the portico. And then the roof up here would expand to get us the bathroom. So front view. Here's the shed. So the shed's in the back corner. We're actually in conformity on the left because it's a 1/4 acre zoning and it's 10 feet, but we're non-conforming in the back. And the back is 2.5 feet from this fence. And as I say, this property, it's a high 6-foot fence. There's a row of trees. The house actually faces Bedford Road. So it's tucked away. And, you know, the issue with a lot of the properties in the Ridge, they're small properties. So to make the shed conforming, it kind of sits in the middle of the yard. Go back to the site plan so you can see. So here.
You don't need a variance to raise the roof?
No, because the face of the house is over 40 feet and that's the required setback.
I understand. Okay.
So it's just for this blip, you know, this is here, and then this is the shed.
So if Howard and Harvey showed up on some Saturday, they couldn't move the shed.
Maybe Harvey could do it.
Maybe, I don't know, but you know, it's not a big yard. There is kind of a pretty garden here that the old owners had put in, and it just tucks in there so nicely and is so private and really, you know, has no negative impact on the neighbor.
How long has the shed been there, Mary? You have any idea?
I don't, because Christina just bought the property in last August. And the people who lived there before were there, I don't know, 30 or 40 years. So sometime within the last 30 or 40 years.
No, there's been no complaints from the neighbors, I assume.
They all got notified.
Okay, good.
Pam, did I ask if there was anyone in the queue to be heard on this matter?
No, but there is no one at this time with their hands raised.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else by the board?
Nope.
I move that we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Would like to make a motion.
I'll take it. I move that we approve the application of Jan Quinto at 10 Brook Lane for a 9-foot front yard variance for a portico, a 6-foot front yard variance for an addition, and a 32.5-foot variance, rear yard variance to legalize the shed. This is a small property, and the granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. There's no feasible method other than the variance to achieve the benefit. The variance is not substantial for the portico or addition. It is, however, I believe, substantial for the shed, but there have been no neighbors in opposition, and it tucks in nicely on the property. So it is what it is. And if the variance is granted, there'll be no adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. This is a self-created hardship, but de minimis for the amount of variance that the applicant is seeking. For those reasons, I move that we grant the variances. 6 months to start, 1 year to finish, and I guess we need surveys for the work.
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
Okay.
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
You have your variance, Mary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is Fink, One Stone Road.
Hi. I'm Jason Fink. I live at One Stone Road. I'm here with my architect, Chuck Napoli.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. I'm going to share screen if you don't mind.
Okay.
this application is for a new deck at grade at the rear of their house on One Stone Road, which is a corner property. And a corner property has 2 front yards. The house is obviously built before the new setback requirements. The house has a 50-foot setback now. What we're asking is to build a deck also with that same 50-foot setback. So we're requesting a 10-foot variance in the side yard. And I want to point out one thing, and that is the side yard of this particular house is facing a very, very steep hill. There's a difference between 12 to 15 feet right where the deck would be, and it's at grade. So we're thinking it's a very minor impact to the neighborhood or to anybody passing by Douglas Road, which as you can see climbs up past this house and is a front yard, but against the side of a hill. So we're looking for 10-foot variance for the deck. I'm finished.
Any questions by the board? Pam, is there anyone in the queue to be heard on this matter?
No one has their hand raised to speak on this. No.
Thank you.
So is this 2 variances being requested here with 2 front yards then?
One.
No, just one.
Just one?
There are 2 front yards, but we happen to be in one of them with the house and a piece of the deck.
Thank you.
I move that we close public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye,
Who'd like to make a motion?
I can take it.
Okay.
I move that we grant a variance to Jason Fink and Christine Gabbard, One Stone Road, a variance of 10 feet, which is a front yard setback for a deck at grade level for the following reasons. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties. The benefits sought by the applicants cannot be achieved by any other feasible method. The requested front yard variance is not substantial, and there's probably no other place to put this deck. It will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. There are no neighbors who are present or written in opposition to the variance. It is not a self-created hardship, as the property is an older property, and this is and has 2 front yards. Therefore, I move to grant the variance with 6 months to start, 1 year to complete, and I suppose we'll need surveys.
Yes, sir, please.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. Have your variance. Chuck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
And good
very
night.
much.
Good night.
You're welcome.
Next, Albert, 17 Frog Rock Road.
Hi, can you guys hear?
Yes, we can.
Steve Albert at 17 Frog Rock Road. We built a house there 25 years ago. And in the craziness of COVID, I've had family move back with grandkids, and we've decided to try and put in a pool. I think we have 2 variances that we're asking for. One, the pool is within the setback, but part of the patio extends outside of it. And the second variance is I applied for a generator around 2010. It was permitted by the town. It was put in, but I guess my excavator guy's tape measure wasn't working, and it's off by about 2 or 3 feet. I'm going to let Mike from the pool company take it from here and give you guys the details that I can't afford to give you there.
Hi everyone, my name is Miguel Fraga from Shoreline Pools. Hope everyone's having a good evening. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes.
Is everyone able to see the site plan from the engineer?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so the first variance that we're applying for is the sun patio. It's a little bit of a tricky site, as you can tell. Most of it is pretty much all wetlands, 150 good portion, and steep slopes. So where we have the pool is within the setback, outside of the setback, and currently a portion of the sun patio is currently within the setback. We're asking for a 16-foot variance. The area where that sun patio is one of the only true areas that would be actually able to be getting sun. One, because of the trees that are currently located on the site, and also just the orientation. I also have a Google Earth image. So this is the one area of a Google aerial view of the site itself. The patio would be right here. So coming from east to west, it is the one portion that would be actually be obtaining the most sun. In terms of the generator did have we did pull a permit in, I believe it was 2012, and that was approved by the town, but we never closed that out. And it turns out that the generator itself was, I believe, 2 or 3 feet from the actual permitted area. So I think we are asking for a variance of 23 feet.
Okay, and I know we want to hear from the town engineer on this application. Bob?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Just to let the board know that the engineering department did receive plans from the applicant's engineer regarding the stormwater mitigation for the pool and the decking. It has been reviewed and everything has been found acceptable. They did a commendable job on the plans that were submitted. In addition to that, we have reviewed the retaining wall that was in the back, and those plans were obviously approved as well, and they have been found acceptable to date. They were found approved probably about a few months ago. So basically, that's all I had to report to the board, basically more of a status report on the plans that have been found acceptable at this point.
So Bob, you have no issues with the proposed installation?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that is correct. We looked at the stormwater. They're treating the water quality. A lot of it is rock outcroppings to begin with. So there wasn't much they can really do with water quantity, but they did control the water quality. And they will store that in infiltrators in ground. They did deeps, they did perks. They did submit a stormwater report. And they did submit comprehensive plans and sections of the retaining wall as well, and they have all been found acceptable. And in my opinion, there should be no impacts to the surrounding neighbors based on the plans that were submitted for stormwater mitigation.
Thank you for appearing tonight. We're sorry we kept you until the last application.
No, it's very interesting activities going on. I learn a lot listening to everyone.
You're not volunteering to move that shed on the last application, are you? Okay.
I can help out.
Okay. So just to go back to the generator for a second. So a location, a plan was submitted to the town approved it, and then the installer placed it some distance.
So when the permit was officially approved in 2012, it was a 25-foot setback that was approved, and I believe it was at now when we on the engineer's plan, it's being labeled as 23 from the property line.
Right.
So that's a 2-foot delta on that one. And just as a note, I think we have, and Miguel can present, this is my next door neighbor at 17 Frog Rock, who is the only one that might have any shot at seeing either of these and has obviously looked at my generator for 10 years. He submitted a letter saying that he's very comfortable with what we're doing and has reviewed the plans.
Yes, and I can pull that up. This is a screenshot from that specific owner, an email that we received this week. Just pretty much saying they are the only neighbor really that has any viewable eyesight view of the generator in the patio that would be installed.
Any other questions by the board? Pam, anyone in the queue to be heard on this matter?
No, there isn't. No one has their hand raised.
Thank you. I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the application of Stephen and Kathleen Albert for 2 variances, a side yard variance at the patio of 16 feet and a side yard variance at the generator for 22 feet be approved for the following reasons. With regard to the patio, this is a difficult piece of property. There's not a lot of area for patio, sun patios between the rock outcroppings and the amount of coverage of trees. This is the only suitable location for it. And by granting it, it will not be offensive to any neighbors. Nobody has complained about it. With regard to the generator had an approved application a few years ago, but apparently the contractor made a mistake in his measurements and inadvertently placed it 2 feet farther from the house than it should have, which requires a 22-foot variance to legalize it. The granting of these 2 variances will not create an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood. There is no other way to achieve the benefits sought other than the granting of these variances. These variants in this particular instance are not substantial, even though they may sound to be. There will be no adverse effect on the physical environment, as attested to by the town engineer who reviewed the plans and the stormwater management situation. And those are all in compliance and approved by our engineering department. This may be considered a self-created hardship or may not be. If it's deemed to be self-created, the benefit to the applicant will far outweigh any detriment to the town or the neighborhood. And if you can provide us as-built surveys for the patio and as-built survey for the generator, we should approve this, and it will for the pool installation and the patio, you'll have 6 months to start and 1 year to finish. Obviously, the generator already exists.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variances.
Thank you very much and have a great night, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Last item, I move that we adopt the meeting minutes for January 26th meeting.
I'll second that.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Okay.
So-
Thank you, everybody. Oh, Amanda?
As a note, the emergency order has been extended to March 16th, so we won't know until then if they extend it again or, so we're gonna do the hybrid language, at least in the notices for now. And we'll know in a few weeks if we're virtual or hybrid or back